ESPN released an article this morning, and they labeled the Commanders as in the sweet spot to trade for Myles Garrett. So coming up on today's show, we'll be breaking down that trade, what it could look like, what the financials would be, and my thoughts on if it'll happen or not. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Really do appreciate it. I am your fill-in host, Jack Sperry. He's busy right now, so you're stuck with me today. You know what? Better for all of us. But before we get into anything, let us know by hitting that thumbs up button if you want Washington to trade for Garrett, okay? I know that he watches these videos sometimes. He doesn't. Well, he might. And if he sees about 500, 600, 700 likes, he might think, you know what? They really want me in Washington. That's where I'm going. So if you want him, like the video. So in this article, they gave kind of 5 different tiers. The first one was won't trade for Garrett, and that was 11 teams, okay? It was pretty much filled with the AFC North, and then a bunch of teams who don't have the cap space or are not competing, okay? Second, with 4 teams, was could be involved, right? In kind of a third-party role. Then the third tier was 9 teams, unlikely but plausible. The fourth tier was maybe with 4 teams. And then the final tier, yes, the sweet spot with 3 teams. And guess who was one of the 3? You're dang right, our Washington Commanders. In that sweet spot, Chicago Bears, Indianapolis Colts, and our sweet friends in burgundy and gold right there at number 3. It's been a really interesting last, week and a half, almost 2 weeks since he's requested a trade. And the longer and longer it's gone on, the more and more confident I've been on Washington being a serious contender. And of those teams in the sweet spot, I really think that Washington and Chicago are the two that it's between. And I'd give Washington the leg up on Chicago, if I'm being totally honest, okay? Myles Garrett, he's made it very apparent since he's requested the trade that he wants to go to a contender, okay? I don't see Indianapolis as a contender, okay? I think they got a lot of really good pieces. They're missing a big spot at the quarterback position. And Chicago, I don't think they're there yet. I think they could be a few years away, and I guess they could use that to sway Myles Garrett there, be like, get us over the hump. But Myles Garrett, just watch Washington go to the NFC Championship, okay? Back to the article, though. Let's hear about what Bill Barnwell had to say about Myles Garrett and the Commanders. I've saved the best candidate for last. The Commanders are the most obvious and consequential landing spot for Garrett. They have the championship potential, the financial flexibility, and the clear and obvious need for pass rushing help. Garrett would be the transformative player Quinn's defenses have usually needed to thrive. When Quinn has built top 10 defenses, they've required superstars to make things work. Garrett would give Quinn a chess piece who makes everybody else on the defense a little scarier. And I could not agree with Barnwell more, especially on that first point, right? I think that Washington is the only place that hits all the 3 major categories, okay? They're a true championship contender. They had the financial flexibility to pay him, not only trade for him, but then extend him. And then also, you know what? They could use the help. They really struggled this past year in pass rush, right? Against the Lions, sure, they were great. Pretty much every other game outside of a few, they heavily struggled. So predict it for me in the comment section down below. What is the % chance Washington trades for Garrett? Scale it for me, 1 to 100. 100, you're saying, you know what? It's going to happen. I guarantee it. If you give me a 1, that means you think there's no chance. Let me know in the comment section down below. So here's what a trade would look like, okay? The Commanders would receive Myles Garrett. The Browns would receive 2 first-round picks, one in 2025, the other one in 2026. And I know on first glance, okay, you're looking at that, your heart drops a little bit because you probably feel like, that's a lot, Joey. 2 first-round picks with a rookie quarterback. You'd really want those first rounders, to surround with talent, all of that. But guys, in my opinion, it's Myles freaking Garrett, okay? It's worth it. You're not going to get 2 first rounders over the next 2 years, in my opinion, that will equate to his impact on the football field and on the defensive side of the ball, okay? And so it is a lot. Right? 2 first rounders. That's a lot to do. That's a lot to give up. But you also got to realize who you're giving it up for. And it's one of the best defensive players in the game at one of the most premier positions in this sport. Okay? So coming up, Let's talk a little bit of financials, okay? Let's talk a little money, 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 money. But before we do that, I got to shout out the awesome sponsor of today's video, our friends over at Fanatics. I got 2 questions for you. Do you love Jaden Daniels? Do you love the Washington Commanders? I'm adding a third. Do you love free shipping? Because right now, if you go to chatsports.com/Daniels, you could get this jersey, burgundy and gold, so beautiful, for free shipping, okay? I know that this jersey is just about to just skyrocket, okay? Jaden Daniels' stock is only going up in the National Football League. You need to buy into that stock right now by purchasing a jersey. So again, free shipping if you go to chatsports.com/Daniels and get yours today. So in my opinion, I think Garrett most likely wants to be extended. And I'm not going to say I guarantee he wants to be extended because the G word, it means a lot, alrighty? But I do believe that he wants to get extended. He wants to get out of Cleveland, be with a contender, and get paid because he deserves to be paid. What that projection is, in my opinion, looks like 3 years, $34.3 million. And again, I know 2 first-rounders is a lot. I know $34.3 million a year is a lot. But guys, like, I can't express enough how big of an impact he could have on your football team. That would put him at number 2 in the National Football League for highest paid non-quarterbacks. He would just be right behind Justin Jefferson, barely as in by $30,000 above Nick Bosa and CeeDee Lamb. They're tied at 34, but he'd be squarely in that number 2 spot if he gets $34.03. And like I just said, I mean, he's worth every penny of it, okay? I know he's getting a little bit older. I know he's been in the league for a very long time. And I know you think his trajectory, I don't want to say you think it might be going down, but with guys his age, you can see the tail end of their career out in the distance. But I don't believe that's the same with Myles Garrett. There are very few Myles Garretts we've ever seen in this league. And you can look at what he did this past year in 2024. It's pretty much standard for what he's been doing in his entire career, okay? He took no steps back in year, what is this, 7 or 8? 16 sacks, 14 sacks, 14 sacks. That's been the last 4 years from him. He's had above 17 tackles for loss in each and every single one of those, okay? And I can't express enough how much of a game changer he could be, okay? There's game changers for games. That's why it's called game changers. But there are very few players in this league that could change a team's season. And I believe he's one of them. So let me know in the comment section, what say you? Would you pay him $34.3 million a year? I know it sounds like a lot. I know it is a lot, but you let me know in the comment section down below if that is something that you would do. And I do think it's worth it. I do think the money is there. And I do think the Commanders can't pay that. However, the Browns seem to have their own plans, okay? That's the thing about trades and trade requests is it takes 2 to tango. A player can sit there, pound his fists all he wants, say he doesn't want to be somewhere, but if he doesn't get traded by that team's owners, then it's not going to happen. And Mike Garafolo came out with this tweet really quickly after Garrett requested a trade and said, the hashtag Browns have made it clear that they are not interested in trading Myles Garrett. I don't expect that to change after this, but Garrett making it clear where he stands. And I think the Browns, honestly, I know they say they're not going to change their minds. I think they end up trading him because multiple reasons. One, I mean, he could just not play if he doesn't want to, right? He could just, do the holdout method. But number 2, it's like where they are right now, just as an organization, it feels like they're on the verge of another rebuild. They're about to pick what? Trace 3rd in this upcoming draft, 2nd or 3rd in this upcoming draft, number 2. And the whole Deshaun Watson quarterback situation is absolutely falling apart. And so if you can get a couple of first rounders in this year's draft and in next year's draft to pair with whatever you have right there that you feel is your core to go into the future with, I think that's beneficial. And also you could save a lot of money if you want to do something something in free agency, if you want to speed up that rebuild a little bit, if you trade him before June 1st, you'd save $16.5 million. If you trade him after June 1st, you'd only save about $5 million. Okay, so if he does get traded, if they do end up trading him, I believe it's going to be before June 1st because they'd be able to save $12 million than they would if they wait until middle of the summer. And one of the reasons I believe that Washington needs to do this, not should, I believe they need to do this, is because we saw something in the Super Bowl that convinced me, and I think convinced everybody, that tightening up and stacking up your pass rush is going to lead to championships, okay? The Eagles, against Patrick Mahomes, 0 blitzes, 26 pressures, 6 sacks, and a 42.9% pressure percentage. And then if you look at the playoffs, through the entirety of it, 92 pressures, 15 sacks, and a 54.4% pass rush win rate. If you're looking for that next thing to take you over that hump, to, make you different from what you were this past year to what you could be next year, still with Jaden Daniels, I think Myles Garrett is that thing. Because although it was awesome that this team made it to the NFC Championship, and in my opinion, that they overachieved, they still, in the biggest game of the year, only got 2 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. You think if Myles Garrett was on that team, that'd be that same stat line? Because I don't, okay? Defense wins championships. Pass rush is what makes defenses great. So that's why I think Washington needs to get Myles Garrett in the nation's capital. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This has been the Commanders Report. I am your guy, Joey Peterson. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join us for the best offseason coverage money can buy.